There are stories that don't appear in textbooks. Stories that someone buried or that simply no one bothered to tell. This is one of them. The price of eggplants is high today. Madrid, 1596. A 14-year-old boy has just killed a classmate in a fight. He is banished for a year. When he returns, his mother has a silversmith job ready for him. It lasts 3 days. He enlists in the army and disappears. He wouldn't come back the same. Damn, he looks like a kid. In the next 50 years, he was a privateer, a spy, a hermit, a knight of Malta, a governor in Italy, and a captain in Mexico. He defeated Walter Raleigh. And Lope de Vega was his friend. And he wrote it himself. Everything. His name was Alonso de Contreras. Perez Reverte used him as a model for Captain Alatriste, but the real one was wilder. Alatriste. Alonso de Contreras was born in Madrid in 1582. The eldest of 8 siblings, son of a craftsman. The Madrid of Philip II is a city of narrow streets and brick houses. A city where the life of a poor boy was worth very little. Contreras had no future in his father's trade. The fight confirmed it for him. On September 7, 1597, using his maternal grandmother's last name so no one would recognize him, he enlisted in the army of the Cardinal Prince, bound for Flanders. He didn't get far. His commander deserted, deceiving the squadron. Contreras found himself a deserter without having chosen it. Without money, without contacts. And with the law on his back, he went down to Palermo and boarded the galleys that fought Turks and Berber pirates in the Mediterranean. He learned to sail. He learned to fight at sea. And he learned Turkish, a language more valuable to him than any weapon. What happens when a boy running from the law discovers that he's very good at war? In 1916, at 19 years old, he's given command of a frigate. He's sent to spy on Turkish activities in the Greek islands. Privateer and spy at the same time.
I learned their language. I learned their customs. I learned when to strike and when to vanish.
I learned the episodes pile up at breakneck speed. He infiltrates Thessaloniki, an Ottoman city, to kidnap a Jewish tax collector who was collecting tributes for the Grand Turk. He gets him out by boat without firing a shot. But the operation that makes him famous and almost costs him his life is another one. He captures the Hungarian lover of Suleiman of Catania, a woman of enormous political value. Contreras puts her on a ship and disappears. Suleiman of Catania puts a price on his head, Kadab. Contreras is 20 years old. 20 years old, and he already has a price on his head in the Ottoman Empire, and he still has his whole life ahead of him. In 1606, he marries in Sicily the Spanish widow of a judge. 2 years later, he kills her. Her and the friend she cheated with. He writes it himself in his memoirs, straightforward, without justifying himself. There is no documentary trial. There is no sentence. Contreras returns to Madrid. He seeks a position at court. He doesn't get it. And then he does something that no one expected from a man like him. He retreats to a hermitage in the mountains of Moncayo, alone, in silence. It doesn't last long. The guards show up, accusing him of being the secret leader of a Morisco rebellion. They're wrong. The weapons found in Hornachos are supposedly his. His retreat in Moncayo, a strategic point between Castile and Aragon, is interpreted as if he was preparing the uprising from there. The punishment foreseen, death. He is judged by the mayor of house and court. Contreras is acquitted. After the acquittal, he returns to the Mediterranean. In 1611, he joins the Order of Malta. To get there, he crosses hostile France disguised as a pilgrim with a sword hidden inside his walking staff. He is discovered in Burgundy. He is imprisoned. His letters of recommendation set him free. In 1618, they send him to the Caribbean. In Puerto Rico waters, he meets Sir Walter Raleigh, English privateer, explorer, favorite of Elizabeth Furey. Fresh out of the Tower of London, where he had spent 13 years, imprisoned for treason. He was on an illegal expedition to the Orinoco River in Spanish territory. It was his last chance to regain the favor of the English crown. Contreras disguises his fleet as merchant ships. Wait. When Raleigh approaches confidently, he opens fire. He fires cannons at him. He puts him to flight. Raleigh returns to England defeated. Shortly after, he is beheaded in London. He entered our waters thinking we wouldn't be waiting for him. He was wrong. The man who defeated Walter Raleigh in the Caribbean was named Alonso de Contreras. His name does not appear in any Anglo-Saxon history book. That is the Black Legend. The episodes don't stop. They send him as governor of Aquila, a rebellious city northeast of Rome. A difficult place full of warring factions. Contreras brings it into order. The method is not specified in the Memoirs. The result does.
Subito.
In 1621, he broke the naval blockade of Marmara at night. He strengthens in Morocco, besieged by land and by sea. And he supplies the besieged. The fortress is saved. In 1631, he witnesses the eruption of Vesuvius. In the midst of chaos and lava, he saves a convent of nuns without a single casualty. Between 1635 and 1642, at over 50 years old, he is captain in the Presidios of Sinaloa and governor of the San Juan de Ulua Castle in Veracruz. Flanders, the Mediterranean, the Caribbean, Italy, Mexico. A boy from Madrid who killed at 14 and never stopped moving? And he still has something left to do. Something that definitely sets him apart from all the other soldiers of his time. In 1631, Lope de Vega appears. The most famous writer of 17th century Spain is his friend. Knights of the same order. Lope hosts him in his house. He dedicates a comedy to him, The King Without a Kingdom, and apparently convinces him to write his poems, Memoirs. Contreras writes them. The story of my life, without false heroics, without a facade of morality, without apologizing for anything. What he did, he did. What he lived, he wrote, with a frightening honesty, with a rhythm that never stops. Every page is pure action. My style is direct and no nonsense. That manuscript was in the National Library of Madrid for 250 years without anyone publishing it. It was discovered in 1900. Ortega y Gasset wrote the prologue in 1943, Pérez Reverte in 2008. 3 centuries after it was written, the world kept discovering it. That doesn't happen to mediocre books. Alonso de Contreras died around 1645. The exact date is not known. Pérez Reverte read it and found his Alatriste, not only in Contreras but also in Pasamonte, Castro, and Duque de Estrada. But Contreras had written the most, the one who had lived the most, the one who never had to make anything up. Alatriste's passion is magnificent. The real man was more complicated, more brutal, and more interesting. If you want to understand 17th century Spain, don't go by the textbooks, go by the real thing. Read The Speech of My Life. You'll find it in any bookstore, and you won't put it down. Subscribe to Hispanic History? They've also tried to bury the next story. Memory is not given, it's claimed.